Okay, today in class we worked on the grammar of percent problems, meaning that we focused on the wording that surrounds percents and talked about how to pull numbers out to find a missing number, whether it's finding a percent of something or given a percent, how would you find the number? To get the answers, we're going to use a strategy that's going to help us organize our information and to better organize our numbers so that we can easily find the missing number. This is a percent box. It looks similar to our proportion box that we used, but we're actually looking for a percent. We're going to label it with part over total, which reminds us, or should remind us, of fractions, that not all problems are going to give us an obvious part over total. So we're also going to use keywords. A keyword that means part would be is, total would be of. So how are we going to use this strategy to help us solve a problem? Let's look at number one. Number one says, what is 10% of 60? Let's set up a proportion box. I'm sorry, I just said it wrong. A percent box. Remember, I'm looking for my part over total, or I'm looking for my is and of. It says what is, meaning is what we're looking for. 10%, well, I know a percent is always out of what? 100. So I would write this as 10 over 100 of 60. Well, of and 60 goes together. Of, we're going to put 60 here. Now I am going to use the same strategy I did for proportions. Is I need to figure out how to get from one side to the other. So I have my completed information on the bottom, so I'm going to use that. There's no way to get from 60 to 100 or 100 to 60. So I'm going to have to reduce. Easiest thing to do when I have a 0 on top and a 0 on the bottom, let's get rid of them. It makes these numbers more manageable. So 10 hundredths just turned into 1/10. Now I'm going to look at it again. Can I get from 10 to 60? Yes. My scale factor is times 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 1 times 6 is x. That means x equals 6. So what does that mean? What is 10% of 60? So if you were to go shopping and you found a video game that's $60, but they were having a sale and they were going to give you 10% off, they would give you $6 off of 60, and you would pay $54 for the game. The $6 is your discount, or how much they would take off of the video game. Okay, let's look at another one. Gives us a little bit of different information. 25% of what is 50? So I'm going to start with my proportion box because it's going to help me organize my numbers and solve. I'm going to label. Remember, I have my is and of. Then I'm going to look at my question. 25%. Well, I can put that either side. I like to keep it the same, and I put the percents over on the right here, so I'm just going to put it on the right here. 25%, well, percent is always out of what? 100, so I would write 25% as 25 over 100. Of what? So my of is my question. I'm not real sure what goes there yet. Is 50. So is 50. Look for a scale factor. Is there anything I can do to 50 to get 25, or is there anything I can do to 25 to get 50? Yes, 25 times 2 is 50. Whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom, and it needs to go the same direction, just like in proportions. So 100 times 2 gives me my answer. So x equals 200. So what would this be like in the real world? Okay, so your mom comes home and she says, oh my gosh, I had this great sale when I went shopping today. I saved $50 off of a sweater. They had 25% off. Well, what you're looking for is, well, that's great. You got $50 off. You know it was 25% off, but you don't know what it was before she received her discount. So what you're answering is, this is how much it cost before the discount. The discount was 25%. She got $50 off. So a little bit different than our first one. Okay, let's look at another one. This too is very different from the first two. 45 is what percent of 9? So I'm going to set up my proportion box to help me organize. I'm going to label so that I keep my numbers straight. It's part over total or is and of, since we're not sure of part over total here. 45 is, so my 45 is, goes in my box that's got the is beside it. What percent, meaning we don't know what the percent is, but we do know what about a percent. It's always out of 100. So even though I don't know the part of the percent, I do know it's still out of 100. Of 9. Well, of 9. 9 goes in my of box. Okay, so go back to your skills. You know about proportions. We're going to apply the same thing to our percent box. 9 and 100 are two that are filled in completely for us. So we're going to use those to find our scale factor. There's nothing I can do to 9 to get to 100. I need to see if I can reduce. 45 and 9, what goes into both? 9 will go into 9, and 9 will also go into 45. So 9 divided by 9 is 1. 45 divided by 9 is 5. So I'm left with the reduce 5 over 1. Now, can I get from 1 to 100? Yes, it's times 100. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 5 times 100 equals 500, so x equals 500. So 45 is what percent of 9? Well, this seems like a lot. It's 500%. Well, you have to think, remember, if we have 100% of something, that means we have a whole. If we have 500% of something, that means that we have 5 of the whole percent. So you have to think 45 has 5 9s wrapped in it. So that one's a little tricky because it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. 500%, that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot more than just getting everything right on a test and some bonus points. So maybe this is at the holidays you get a little bit bonus money on top of your check. So they're going to take what you normally get and then they're going to add to it. So you get 500% of what you normally do. Okay, that's not reality. Nobody gets paid that much. But we can pretend to understand where the 500% comes from. Okay, we're going to try a couple. You're going to pause the video and try them on your own, and then we'll come back and check to have you try it for a minute. Let's go down to the second line. Let's have it so you can see it. Okay, the second one says 40% of what is 10. So I want you to pause the video, set up your percent box, make sure you're labeling, make sure you're putting the numbers that coincide with your words, is and of, find your scale factor, then turn the video back on and check with me. Okay, so you should have tried this one on your own. Start with our percent box. Label is and of. 40%, we know our percent, it's written as 40 over 100. Of what means the X is going to go into the of. Is 10. The 10 goes with the is. The top one is the one that's complete. So how can I get from 10 to 40? Times 4. Whatever I do to the top, do to the bottom. What times 4 gives me 100? X should be 25. Okay, next one. 18 is what percent of 30? Pause your video, set up your proportion box, label, put your numbers with the right word, go ahead and find your scale factor, come back and check with me. Okay. Proportion box, set it up, label it, is and of, read our question, 18 is, so it's telling us the 18 goes in the is, what percent, meaning we don't know the percent, but what do we know about a percent? It's always out of 100, good, of 30. So of 30, here's of 30. I'm looking for, how do I get from 30 to 100? I can't. So I'm going to look, is there a way to reduce? Absolutely. 18 and 30, what number would they share? They share a 6. 6 goes into 18 3 times. 6 goes into 30 5 times. So I can reduce that to 3/5. Now can I get from 5 to 100? Yes, it's times 20. So how do I get from 3 to x? Well, 3 times 20. X equals 60. I was looking for what percent? So it's 60%. Okay, try this one. Pause the video, set up your proportion box, label, stick your numbers in there, find your scale factor, come back and check with me. Okay, so number 10, set up a proportion box, label is and of, what is, meaning we're going to put the X in the is because we don't know what that is. 5%, so 5 goes in my percent, and 5%, percent is always out of, you got it, 100. So 5% of 20, of 20, put your 20 in there. Okay, so I'm going to look. Can I get from 20 to 100? Yes, 20 times 5 is 100. So what times 5 is 5. 1. So x equals 1. So 5% of 20 is 1. So you have to think, if you're buying something for $20 and they say, hey, we're going to give you 5% off, you're basically getting $1 off. A whole lot off? No, but every little bit helps.